Well, hello everyone. I making a video of my first video of my new Charger, 2012 Charger SE. I no longer have the Grand Prix that has been in all my videos. The Grand Prix has been traded in now for the Charger, and this is going to be a pretty extensive video. I'm going to show as much as I can. I'm making this video for the Grand Prix forums, Grand Prix in North America, just to show the video to some of the guys and answer some of the questions that some people had. And this video is going to go probably on Facebook as well, and maybe if I join one of the Dodge Charger forums. So this is the base model, and for anyone who's on a budget or maybe just wants to get into a Charger and they just can't afford the SXT or the RT or the SRT8, this is a great car, and just wanted to make a video to show you guys how loaded this car is. Definitely is not any less of a car because it's a base model. So starting with the outside here, I'll just show you what you don't get. Obviously you don't get the fog lights, and that's right down here. I guess a person could put in aftermarket fog lights or maybe do some ducting to redirect some airflow to your air intake or something like that, I guess, you know. But for now we're just going to leave it the way it is. Now, car is all white, and what I might do as far as a modification is order some hood stripes. They're called recharge stripes, and they fit right here in the scallops, and from Parts PFYC or whatever that website's called. And I'm thinking about getting, it's called Azure Blue Metallic, and they fit right in here. There's two that fit in here, and then what I would do is have some ones from a custom shop made and put two back here, and of course I would tint out this window here and the back passenger windows. Of course I can't do the front because it's illegal and not safe. So got the base wheels, 17-inch wheels. I like the wheels. I'm not really big on flashy wheels. I feel that, you know, the wheels shouldn't take away from the car. You know, maybe other people have different opinions, but I don't think that the first thing you notice on the car should be the wheels. The wheels should complement the car, but not take away from the car. But that's okay though. I mean, we all have our likes and dislikes. I feel that, you know, the car is, you know, a muscle car or a retro redesigned muscle car should have that raw meat and potatoes look, you know, that Metallica, Kiss, steel, iron look to it, not flash. It's meat and potatoes, not wine and caviar. That's just how I feel. Anyway, so let's walk around the car some more here. And one of the first things I'll show you guys is the entry system. Now, it's a keyless car, it has a push button start, and this here is the key. Now, there is a backup key in here in case the battery goes dead and I need to get into the car. So there's two ways I can open the car. I can use the button on here. You got lock, unlock, lock. You got the panic button, you got the trunk button, all that kind of stuff here. But as long as I have the key fob on me, I come up to the door handle. Well, first of all, I'll lock it first. So I come up to the door handle and I touch it and it opens the door. Now, you can have it programmed to open up all the doors, unlock all the doors, or you can have it programmed to open just the one door. I have it programmed just to open the one door. If I'm with a bunch of friends, then I have to use this here, and it opens up all the doors with 2 clicks. Okay, so we'll come around, I'll show you guys the trunk. Nice big trunk. Excuse my mess in here. I got all my junk in here and gonna organize it some more, all my cleaning stuff. But they give you guys a nice big, you can actually move in there, maybe put a small apartment in there, you know. You move in there, live in there. It's nice and huge, just like the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix had an excellent sized trunk as well. One of the guys asked me on the posting there if the tail light lights up. And it does, actually. During the daytime when the lights are off, just the brake lights light up when you put your foot on the brake, or you have your signal light on or hazard lights. But when you have the lights actually turned on, and this car has the same auto lights that the Grand Prix has, but when the lights are on, there's actually there's this whole back area is lit up. Only thing that scares me about this is that reading the owner's manual, there's no there's no parts that you can buy. If a light an LED goes out or something like that, I have to go and get it fixed from the dealer. So, and who knows how much that's gonna probably be really expensive. So let's hope that it doesn't happen for a long time. So you got the dual exhaust on the base model. I took off the dealership sticker. I went to the car wash today, just about maybe an hour ago, to make the car nice and clean for the video. Now the dual exhaust, or it's actually a single exhaust, but it's split. But it sounds awesome. The best way I can describe the sound is that it sounds very similar to a V6 Camaro. It has a nice, really nice sporty sound to it. I love driving this car. Words can't describe the coolness of this car. Anyways, come around here and I'll show you the gas cap now. Gas cap is a locking cap. Nobody can steal your gas. There's a button right here. You can see it or not. And come around here, and it's a capless filler, which means there's no cap to take off. You just put your nozzle in and away you go. Close that back up and it locks up. Next thing I'll show you guys is the I guess the quality and the fit and finish of the car. It's outstanding. It's really good. I mean, I thought the Grand Prix was really good. I thought it was built quite well. This thing is amazing. One of the things I like, well, I like everything, is the door handles. They're not, excuse me, they're not plastic. These are real steel door handles. You've got real leather here on the base model. You got leather here. You got this steel trim around here. And you got the nice silver steel trim around the door window controls. The base model car has the power driver's seat, 6-way power driver's seat. Of course, the passenger seat is manual controlled. So we come in here. We got our street lights. Got some controls here. That's for our lights. Very same system that the Grand Prix has and the other Pontiacs have. With the automatic lights, you can turn them off or you can turn them on or have them in full auto. This light here will control my interior light as well as the brightness of my dash lights. This button here, and maybe if I remember to do this, I'll make a nighttime video for you guys. At nighttime, there's actually a blue, if you want to call it ambient light, that is around all the door handles, around different parts of the car. Just a nice soft blue glow, and it looks awesome. And you can control the brightness with this button. Of course, that's your trunk. And then down here, that is our control for our telescopic and our tilt steering. So I'll pop open the hood for you guys. I just gotta find the button here. We'll just walk around and open the hood up. So I love watching YouTube videos on cars, so I'm trying to make a really good one for everybody here, so hopefully you guys will like it. So just give me a sec here. Okay, so this is the V6 engine. It's the Pentastar, rated at 292 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Now what's interesting is that you guys should know this car is not brand new. It was pre-owned. I was offered and approved to buy a brand new one, but the numbers just didn't work out the way I wanted them to. And I'll explain that in a second there when I get in the inside of the car and show you guys the inside of the car. But the dealership did an awesome job of detailing this car. There was no evidence of anyone ever previously owning this car or driving this car prior to me getting into it. Now some of this dirt that you see here on here, that's just from, you know, the last week and a half of me driving the car. We actually had, today's our first nice day here. We got 27 degrees Celsius, or supposed to have 27 Celsius today. But last week it was like rain, snow, grungy, cloudy, dirty, muddy weather. But today's a nice day. Now, I like the amount of space. Everything seems like, I'm not a mechanic, but you know, if I was a mechanic, You always hear mechanics talking about how the old cars are better to work on because they have more room to work around. This kind of reminds me of the old, old style cars. A lot more room here to work around in. And as far as anything fancy under here, I'm not going to do nothing. And the car is going to just stay the way it is. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. It's good the way it is. Okay. So close this up. I'll come around here. So here we got our windshield washer fluid jets, nozzles or whatever. It's kind of cool how they work. Watching them work, I guess. Let's do a nice, good, constant walk around here. This is actually my third white car that I've owned. I've owned a 2003 Sunfire, which was an awesome hot little car. My 2004 Pontiac Grand Prix GT, that was a hot car. And now I have this car. Now, the thing about white is that white always looks clean. It hides the nicks and scratches. I guess the drawback is that when you do a good wax job on it, you don't get that reflective look, I guess. But I get a lot of turning heads with this car. Actually, the funny thing about this car is that where I work, I'm actually required to wear this safety vest when I'm on company property. So when I drive to and from work, people are afraid to pass me because they think I'm a cop driving an unmarked police car or a ghost car. And it's actually quite funny because I can actually drive in the left lane 10k or 20k below the speed limit and no one passes me. And it's actually really funny actually, but whatever. I guess, this is better to be safe than sorry, I guess, whatever. Okay, so let's take a look inside the car now. And if I'm mumbling here, just forgive me, guys. It's kind of ad-lib here, the video. Okay, so we're in here. And so I'll show you some of the features in the touch screen and the transmission and all that kind of stuff. I'll get my cell phone out of the way here. So to start the car, as you can see, it says press brake and push button to start. So now if I wanted to turn on just the accessories and not start the car, here's my start. This is my ignition button right here. So if I want to play the radio or something like that, I just hit the start button and there it says Dodge. It gives me a disclaimer about not being distracted while I'm driving and all that kind of stuff, and then the radio comes on. Now what's interesting about the radio, actually what I'll do is I'll just start the car here. Let me just turn this off here. Okay, so to start the car, put my foot on the brake. Car started now. Okay. Of course it does the classical sweeping of the gauges. First thing I'll show you on here is, this is really neat here. Oh, you see I've got on the front here, I've got controls on my front of my steering wheel. This side here we've got our cruise control. Now the only difference with what the other models have, or the more expensive models have, they actually have a button up here, and they have what's called adaptive cruise control, where the car will actually match the speed of the car it's following, so you never have to keep putting your brakes on. And over here, the upscale, I guess the upper trim has the button for the hands-free phone, where you can connect your phone with your Bluetooth to the car. So anyway, we'll start here with the buttons here. I got up arrow, down arrow, I got my enter key, and I got my back. And what this does, it controls on here. Now you see I have it set for vehicle speed, because it's easier to use this to check your speed as opposed to the speedometer. Now if I go back, I can actually select through different things, like vehicle info, for example. There's a coolant temperature there, oil temperature there, all sorts of stuff there. I hit the back button and I can go say up to fuel economy. For example, now this is set in kilometers, so it's showing me how many liters per 100 kilometers my last trip that I did. So it's also showing me the DTE. That DTE means distance till empty. So roughly I have 335 kilometers according to my last style of driving, as far as my, how heavy-footed I am, of range before the car runs out. Now if you look down here, you see on the bottom of the screen, there's a little arrow and then there's a red graph. Okay, if you're driving with this screen on, the little arrow will actually stay where it is as your target fuel economy, and the more aggressive or less aggressive you are on the throttle will actually dictate how fast that graph goes up and down. And I guess the idea is like a little video game, you know, you have to kind of try to keep the little graph kind of within that target fuel economy, and that's what's supposed to get you the maximum fuel economy. But I mean, you don't buy a Charger to save fuel, you buy a Charger to have fun. Okay, but even so, I mean, even having fun with the car, I'm finding that it runs really good on fuel. So I'll go back to vehicle speed, because that's where the setting I like to keep it at. Okay, and of course you got your RPM there, you got your coolant level there. So it has just the standard gauges as well as, you know, the screen gauges. So come over here now, and we've got the touch screen. Got my radio, my player, my climate. There's my climate control. I can set everything here. I can unsync the temperature, so we have basically now what's really cool about this is I can use the touch screen to change the radio, to adjust the temperature, all that kind of stuff, or I can just use the standard controls that are down here. And I like that because that basically will keep the screen clean and keep all the fingerprints and gunk off it. But for now, we'll just show you some of the stuff here. So here we go here. Here's our settings. We can set up our clock. We can set up our lights as far as how long they stay on when the car shuts off. I can turn the screen off. And then on the back of the steering wheel, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 controls. And with this side here, I can actually turn up my volume. And there's a little center button. I push it, and it will cycle me between AM, FM, and satellite. Look at this AM station right there. Okay, now we got FM. Now I can turn up the volume, turn down the volume. Of course, I got all these preset stations, and it automatically programs itself to whatever city you're in, to all the latest stations. So these are all the stations here in the city that I live in for FM. Turn that off. Okay. So now also too, I wanted to show you guys something else. What it was? Oh yeah, is the controls for the balance and fader. So basically, here's the equalizer. I can use my fingers. I can touch. I can do it that way. Or again, I can use this thing here where it says to and enter a scroll. I can actually use that, and I'll just show you guys. Like, just select which one I want. Push the center button, adjust it to where I want it, and then move on to the next one. The balance fade is also quite neat too. I can use the control down here, or I can go like this. I can use these touch buttons here, or I can just take my finger and rub it along like this. And then if I've messed it up too much, I hit C for center, and automatically it puts it right in the center. So that's what that does. And what else is there? Of course, we've got our standard controls down here. I just have the one disc CD player in here. 5-speed transmission. The base model 2012 Charger comes with the 5-speed transmission. If you want the 8-speed, you have to order that as an option on the base model. It comes standard on the other V6s, on the SXT and the SXT Plus, but you have to order it as an option if you get the SC. So this one here is the 5-speed. Here we've got our 2 cup holders. Open this up. What's neat here is we've got little slots to put your coins in, and this actually tray will come out, and I'll show you here. My work gloves out of here, but you've got another 12-volt DC connection, and you got a USB connection, and a spare house key that I've got to get put away somewhere. Put this tray back on here again. Like I said, the build quality in this thing is amazing. This is leather. Still in the back seat here, and lots of room. And I'll just kind of do a little quick tour of the back seat here. So we'll just step out of the car here, and I'll show you guys the back seat. Okay, lots of room for tall people. Backseat people have vents to keep themselves warm. They also have a voltage or a adapter plug-in as well too. You've got leather pouches to put stuff in. Again, nice trim around the door, the leather door handles, and just like the most cars, you pull on that handle, and both these will fold down to have access into the trunk. Center person gets a adjustable headrest, and you get the pull down cup holders for the center or for the back seat people. And there you go. Just gonna lower that down. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to tell you guys, I like telling stories about cars because I like hearing people's stories about their cars and how I came to get this car and what happened with the Grand Prix. Well, for the longest time now, I've been following since about 2006, I've been following the introduction of the new Camaro. I was always hoping they'd bring back a new Firebird. I think everybody thought that. And followed the Camaro from 2006 right through to the production car. And as much as I love the Grand Prix, I was looking at getting myself something for my birthday. I'm turning 40 on Friday here, and for the last few years I've been looking at getting myself into a Camaro. And of course time was important because when I bought the Grand Prix, I was pretty much brand new when I bought it, so I pretty much paid brand new price. And the problem is that when you buy a car that you trade in, you're dealing with what's called negative equity. And what negative equity is basically if I owe $15,000 on my car, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a new Camaro, say it's $20,000, we'll say $25,000, a new Camaro LS, V6 base trim, $25,000. Now let's say I owe $15,000 on my Grand Prix. I take it to the dealership. They run the numbers on it. They look at the car. Does it have this? Does it have that? Is it clean? Any dings on it? And let's say they say, well, all we can give you is block book value, which is currently $5,000. So now what happens is there's still $10,000 owing on the car. So that $10,000 gets put on the price of the new car. So now my base model Camaro V6, which was $25,000, is now going to be $35,000, which basically is almost like an LT or even an SS. So now you're paying that price for a base model car. And if you want the car bad enough, fine. That's just the way life is. And and of course there's also what kind of interest rate you get and what kind of down payment you make. So there's all those factors. Then there's also the factor of the finance company saying, well, you know what, we can't finance him that much on that car because it isn't worth that much if we have to repossess it. So he's going to have to come up with a down payment of $8,000. So that's basically why I just waited. I mean, I've had chances to buy cars, Camaros, and I even test drove a Grand Prix GXP a couple years ago, and I test drove a Pontiac G8, and they were good, but not good enough to get me into a situation where I'm going to be paying a bit higher payment. Like, for example, in this car here, I am paying a little bit higher of a payment than what, say, someone else would be, because I have some of the carryover that was left over from the trade-in of the Grand Prix. But I feel it's worth it because this car is amazing. I mean, the best way I can describe this car is that feeling you had when you were a little kid and you just couldn't wait to get home from school to ride your new bike. That is exactly how I feel when I'm at work. And I'll tell you something, I've had the car for a week now, and every time I get in the car and drive it, it feels like the first time all over again. So, but a week ago, I was looking at I've been looking at the Chargers now for a while now, this new design. I just love this car. I think it's an amazing car. And I was looking at the fact of practicality. I can't afford two cars. I can't afford a hot rod, and I can't afford a family, daily driver, go-getter or whatever. I mean, I'm still single, but if I get married, I want to have a car that I can take the wife and kids out in and still go and have fun with it. So I started leaning towards the Chargers, and about a couple of weeks ago, I went down to a dealership, and I saw a unsold, brand new 2011 SXT Plus, fully loaded, leather, sunroof, had a bigger touch screen, had a backup camera that lit up, that showed had a backup camera that activated once you put the car in reverse. Leather interior, heated cup holders, chilled cup holders, heated seats, chilled seats, all that fancy stuff. And I got approved by the same bank that actually was financing me on the Grand Prix. I got an excellent rate, but the payment was just higher than what I wanted. I would have had no money for myself left over, and by the time I would have finished paying the car off in 7 years, which is over 84 months, I would have ended up paying $69,000 for a $33,000 car. And I just can't justify doing that, so I actually phoned them back and I said, sorry guys, I'm going to back out of the deal because it's not a responsible decision. And I left it at that. A week later, the sales guy called me back and says, well, you know, we want you to come in and talk to our credit specialists. We've got a couple pre-owned, less option ones here that you might be interested in. And I said, okay, I'll come in and see you guys. And that's what I did. Sat down, talked to them. Much better deal on this car. This car here is pre-owned, but it's a 2012. It's a better color. I like it better. I think it looks sleeker. And the payment's a lot cheaper. It's only a bit more than what I was paying monthly on the Grand Prix. And if I keep the car for the 7 years, I'm paying about $15,000 less than what I would be paying on the other car. So that's why I decided to go with this car here. Okay, so 5-speed automatic, and it's got the manual mode tap shift. The only negative thing I guess I could say about the transmission, and I think a lot of the auto reviewers are saying the same thing about the old style 5-speed transmission in this car, is that the shift points are pre-programmed for economy driving. It's not so bad that it's got 5 gears. I mean, there's lots of cars that have 5 gears that are excellent, lots of cars that have 4 gears that are excellent. It's just that the car is pre-programmed for economy driving and you cannot change the shift schedule. And to give you guys an example, for example, you stop at a red light and you start to pull away at the green light, and you just, you know, heavy acceleration or even moderate, you know, normal acceleration, before you even are halfway through the intersection, it shifts in the 2nd gear. So that's the only drawback. Now, however, when you drive it in manual mode, different story altogether. It is night and day. And just to give you an idea of the power this car has, I'm sure there's lots of 0 to 60 videos out there on the car, so I'm not going to make one. But what is it? I think it's supposed to be like 6.5 seconds or 7 seconds or whatever, 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 if you're going kilometers. Now, I took this car for a road trip yesterday, just about an hour and a half north of my home city here, and I had to pass the speed limit on the highway was 110 kilometers an hour. And you always get those slow pokes that want to do 80 or 70, and you know, you got to get around them. And so I went to pass about 3 or 4 cars that were just poking along doing 80, and the car accelerated from 80 to 130 in an instant. It was like a blink of the eye. It's like 1 second this says 80, the next second it was like 130. So anyone who wants to get one of these cars, be careful, because you're going to be getting a ticket. So hopefully I don't get a ticket. Anyway, I'm just sort of ad-libbing the video. I'll try to edit it so it's not so much blabbing in it, but I just wanted to make a good video for anybody who's interested in the Charger. I know a lot of us Grand Prix fans are sad that the Pontiac went away and the Grand Prix is not around. And believe me, if Pontiac was still around and there was still a new Grand Prix that was coming out, I'd be my first choice of a car that I would be getting. But I think this is probably the next best choice. This is even a better car than the G8. If you own a G8, you may disagree. Hey, all the power to you. I hope you love your car. But this, to me, this is the epitome of cars. This is just an amazing car. I'm very impressed with it. And I hope that everyone has enjoyed my 29-minute video. And like I say, a car, just a video just to make sure that, a video for people that are interested in the car, and just show that, hey, if all you can afford is the base model, or if all you want is the base model, there's nothing base model about this car. This car is loaded. It is a blast to drive. It is fun, and safe driving to everyone out there. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to sign off now, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.